Welcome to the Maakat Multimedia series, a Maakat analysis of Francis Fukuyama's The End of History and the Last Man. Does the end of history mean the end of events? Francis Fukuyama thinks that it can. In his 1991 text, The End of History and the Last Man, he argued that the ending of the Cold War had shown that capitalism and liberal democracy had more positives and fewer flaws than any other form of government. He expected that, as their triumph was recognized, they would be adopted across the world, ending ideological conflict and establishing a period of universal peace. For Fukuyama, this would mean the end of history. There would still be events, sometimes even wars and disputes, but nothing fundamental would change. So he called the citizen of this post-revolutionary world the last man. We can understand Fukuyama's central argument better by transposing his three key ideas to the history of man and flight. History, according to Fukuyama, is an evolutionary process whereby human society is repeatedly refined as it moves from objectively worse to objectively better, with better, for Fukuyama, being closely associated with freedom. In the same way, man invented and reinvented flying machines, culminating in the development of the most successful design, the airplane. It's a mode of transport that is still in a continuous state of refinement. But it seems unlikely that there'll ever be a completely different and far superior form of air travel to rival it. That is how Fukuyama feels about liberal democracy. His second idea is that the driving force behind history's evolution is the liberal democratic state. Only a liberal democratic political system encourages citizens to struggle for improvement and recognition. Other systems, such as Marxism, have proven unable throughout history to achieve this. In much the same way, the airplane did have a rival at one time, the airship. Just as other forms of governance struggled with capitalism and liberal democracy, so the airship and airplane vied for supremacy. There was a time in the early 20th century when the airship was more popular. The passenger-carrying Zeppelin, in particular, offered more comfort and long endurance, until its problems became self-evident. Which brings us to Fukuyama's third idea, the endpoint of historical evolution and the emergence of the last man, the triumphant citizen. For him, history is essentially a story of societies moving from being less free to eventually become liberal democracies. In this sense, Fukuyama's last man is like a modern airplane passenger. He travels in an aircraft that, while it continues to be refined to provide greater comfort, more efficiency, more speed, retains the same basic design of fuselage, engines, and wings. An American political scientist, political economist, and author, Francis Fukuyama remains a world-renowned thinker. His books are read by politicians and public alike. A more detailed explanation of his ideas can be found in the Maakat analysis.